Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop for this Saturday afternoon, early evening episode. I'm fixing a F-16 nose gear. Guess what, guys? It's fixed. It is fixed and it works just great. I took them restrictors off the airline. Comes up and down pretty good. I think it's going to work just fine. Fine as wine. I gotta make that when I cut that off, it made it a little short, so I gotta lengthen that one a little bit. The rest is just fine. Okay, I went ahead and put that little bend back right there so it wouldn't hit right there. Ooh, see that? But someone said, why didn't I heliarc this? One thing, I don't have a heliarc. Another thing, that all is so thin, guys. It is so thin right there. It's like, this where it broke under there. It was like a 30-second, man. I mean, that was some thin stuff, and this is much stronger. I got that screwed too. There's two screws. I filed them down a little bit, smooth them up, but all JB welded, drilled and tapped and screws. That's stronger than it was originally, and it clears everything. Still turns. So I think I'm in good shape, and so I think a lot of my problem was them restrictors. It just wasn't going hard enough. And that was hitting the side, and it ain't no more. And I got all this fixed, and it's good to go, baby. But I had a little visitor in the shop. My old buddy, Sharp Pencil, came up just for a quick stopover. He had a day or two of vacation left, and let's get ready to come in there. He and his wife got back from their little trip to their cabin, so he thought he'd just run up. He spent the night last night, and we piddled around today, went to the big tool store, and sat down and shot the breeze. He showed me some stuff, brought me some stuff. Okay, this is how we're going to build the cockpit, the dashes, and the Thunder Chief, okay? All we do to make this, see, that ain't a bad looking dash. You know what I mean? Ain't a bad looking dash. We got some pictures printed out here. And Paul's got a laser printer. That's all etched by laser. And you see these lines here? That's just a light etching. Whoops, where the other pieces go. See, so what we will do is we'll paint this a gray, the dark gray, and the primer gray. Just paint that gray. Then we take these other pieces here. We take like this piece right here, okay? You see the etching mark where that fits on? Bam. Okay. See the etching mark? And we'll paint this like black, a flat black. And we'll glue that on there. Bam. And these little holes here, that is where these things go. Paul says he thinks some of them broke off, but we can get some more of them and glue them in these holes, because them are actually knobs. He thinks this is the radio right here. You see, then we take we do that in them, and this is just he couldn't remember what file he had or used. He said he's got a bunch of them. I said, well, go home and delete them all except for this one. Because he had to do some playing around. But this piece goes on the back. We can put like a piece of plastic on there, and then this, you see, and then all them other pieces painted a different color. Bam! And you get that. See? Right? But what he's going to, and we also, he's doing this with his laser printer. Now this is cool. And it actually works. Okay? It works good enough. But for this piece right here, which is the radio, it's got all them dials and stuff. Took his laser printer. See them little black marks? Right here? Right there. Look at them closely. You see them? Right around there? And all them right there. Them are, that's letters. That's writing. Okay? You can actually see. He says, and you see him? You look real close. You see him? It's just tiny, tiny, tiny writing. Okay? He does this with his laser printer. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint this black. This goes over there like so. However it goes on. Like so. And then just spray paint that. Just paint it a couple times with like white. Just mist coats. And then the numbers will show up on there. You'll be able to see them if you're really close, but you know, from far away it'll look good. Especially from looking through a canopy. But I think we're going to make this out of double-faced tape. I'm going to have to tell him to check his size. Because it looks good down there. The holes match up down there. He was just practicing anyway. But then that top hole don't match up. I'll have to tell him about that. But if you look real close, you can see holes there, but that's writing. It is just so small. It looks like a hole there, but it's writing. And if you look on here, you can see it. I mean, some of it, if you put a magnifying glass on it, you could read it. You know. See that? That's too cool. But oh, man, we should have made a video when he was here. He has got one of them printers that makes parts. You know, it puts out a solid part. And it was pretty interesting. He was telling me about it. But we got some cool stuff coming up in the future, guys. Let's see, and then here's the sides. Them's just the sides of the cockpit. Like right there. And you know, don't make a not bad looking cockpit. And it's super light and it's easy to paint. And you know, that's kind of the reason I don't want to just mold this. You know, I can mold this with my silicone. But then you're here with a little paintbrush. And you know, I'd rather just make these parts separate. What I'm going to do, see, that's what Paul did, is he molded these little switches. These flip switches and them dials. He actually made one and made a mold. And got some plastic, guys. And I got some of this plastic. And we're going to make a bunch of them. I'm going to make them and I'm going to make some of them. And on this piece right here, I'm going to fill this with foam, glass it, then I'm going to make this into my mold, because this is already starting to come apart where that piece was glued on. And make this my mold and make a fiberglass one. It'll get rid of that wood, make it lighter, and it'll look just as good, and it'll fit right in my canopies, because this fit just great. So, and it'll come out lighter, because this is This is 5-6 ounces, and I can get that down to a couple. You know what I mean? And also, me and Paul poured one of these panels up this morning. See, kind of just took this knife and got that up. Okay. I made a rubber mold. Bam. There's that panel right there. And mix me up some stuff. We're going to see how this works out. And I think tomorrow I'm going to go buy a pressure cooker. Now don't be getting on me, man. That's terrible. Did you guys hear about that bombing in Boston? How terrible was that? made some bombs, blowing people up. What kind of person would do such a thing? Whew, terrible, terrible thing. But anyway, I got to go buy a pressure pot from Home Depot. I mean, not Home Depot, Harbor Freight, because see all them little flip switches. See all them little flip switches right there? Them are switches. Them ain't just, you know, they're different. Some of them's long and skinny. When I make my mold and pour my casting plastic into this mold, it won't go down all the way in the tips of that unless we put this in a pressure pot and put it under pressure. Then we pour a plastic in it, put it in the pot, put the lid on it, hook it up to the air compressor, and put like 50 pounds of pressure in there. What that does is it forces our plastic resin deep in them little holes, and that stuff sets up in like 15 minutes. So tomorrow we should be able to pull the part out. And then these will be easy. You know, I can paint stuff like this. You know, we'll just spray paint. It'll come out blue because my casting plastic is blue, and then just paint these little things just like my buddy why does this always happen to me? Javier. He made these panels originally. He's a good guy. Oh, there's my test piece. I had to make sure it was going to come off of that plastic or that paint. This is my rubber stuff. But it comes off, and you know, but I can paint this little stuff. We'll spray paint that whole thing black, and then, you know, I could paint that. Them panels on that dash. But I'm going to mold this. I'm going to mold this stick. I'm going to mold all this stuff, and that's going to come out really nice. Because Ollie, you're getting a new pan. I got you a lighter one laid up. This one's too heavy. I got you light stuff, buddy. Light all the way. Hey, I seen your Skymaster 104, man. It looks nice. Working on the Century Series, baby. That Skymaster's a nice plane. We couldn't find a flying video on yours. I looked on your on that Tread on North Universe, and I looked on YouTube. I found some other Skymasters, but I couldn't find you flying your 104. On the Tread, it looked like everything looked good. The pictures looked good. That's a good looking paint job. I like that. You're gonna like this Thunderbird paint job. It's gonna be pretty. But that's all I got for now, guys. It's just been a cold, rainy day in the shop, hanging out with my buddy and talking, and went out to lunch, and he didn't get in till late last night, and then he just kind of spent the day. We went out to lunch, went to the big tool store. We got this tool store here. It's huge, man. It's just huge. Everything you can think of in this store. I'm talking everything. If it's a tool, they got it right there in stock. And Paul's never been in a store like that. He was just, I mean, they got everything. You name it. Anything from tweezers to big industrial badass sanders, top of the line. They had some stuff in there I never seen before. It's just amazing. You know, me and Paul had to go look at every little thing they had in that store too. It was funny. I like Paul. But that's what I got rolling today, and thought I'd just show you what we got going on. See, this is that side panel. See how he kind of cuts that? He said that's just one. It takes 2 passes with the laser to cut it out, and 1 pass with the laser to do that. And that's like, that glues onto the side panel right there. Bam. It looks good. And here's actually all the pieces, the separate pieces that glue onto that panel. See, so there's quite a few. And makes it look really good without having to get in there and do a lot of little tiny painting. That's what I can't do, you know. But we're getting ready to make some, and you know, I'll make some videos. You know, we'll make some videos. So, don't look like we're going to be doing no flying for a while, so we're just going to be chilling in the shop. And we will be back for more.